children together, Gwen, Griffin, and Callie. But we're here today to celebrate the life of Glen Weir. One thing he told me many years ago is that when I die, I owe life nothing. And I heard that was kind of the sentiment throughout our friendship together, and as he became my father, those things kind of still ring true in my ears. And that's quite evident today by the quantity and the caliber of people who are in this room, how many different lives he touched. Like seeing you all here today is actually bringing a tear to just about everybody's eye here, so it's fantastic. We have people who came from all walks of life, especially Glen's teammates that are here. I don't want to say any names because I'll unfortunately leave someone out. But yeah, that's quite evident. And Glen was definitely a guy who lived, who was larger than life, which is evident because these jerseys are huge. you guys are, I don't know how you guys did it, but these things are massive, so you feel each one of them. But anyway, we're just going to say one or two words here. There's a quick Bible verse that we wanted to read. Just bear with me. I know that Glen didn't really go to church much, but he did grow up. It was a United Church, correct? Yes, it was United Church. So he was a believer. Just a quick verse here. This is from John chapter 11. And Jesus told her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. And we believe that's true today, and Glen is up there watching down on us and blessed us with a beautiful day with great weather. Okay, so I'm just going to open up everything by having a quick prayer. And then from kickoff to touchdown, this thing will last no more than about 15 to 20 minutes. So, bow your head just for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for all the people in this room today who have gathered to celebrate the life of Glen Weir. Even though he's passed away and our mourning has continued, we still celebrate all that he did and all that he worked for, which is evident by the people in this room today. We ask that you bless our time together and be with us as we share memories and laugh about all the good times we have with Glen. Amen. Next up, we're going to have the children are going to do a candle ceremony.
Represents our sadness. The pain of losing you is intense. Our tears are reminders of the depth of our love for you. The second candle represents our courage to fully live no matter what life throws at us. Like you taught us to have the courage to confront our sorrow and comfort each other during this difficult time. The third candle we light in your memory for the many times we laughed together and the times you comforted us when we needed it in your special way. The times we were angry with each other and ended up laughing at the silly things we did.
For our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine out all around us to heal our sadness. Give us courage and remind us of your deep love for all of us. We share this celebration of your life, Papa, with friends and family today. We cherish this special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you.
We love you and will always remember you, Papa.
everyone. I'm Zach, Glen's oldest grandson and son of Rachel. Anyways, some of you may not have heard me a little taller than the last time we crossed paths, but it's great to see a lot of faces from our past and good to put some names to faces of people we've heard throughout all the Papa stories. As you know, he's a great storyteller, and from all the memories he had. But anyways, Papa was my #1 fan growing up. No matter what sport it was, he was always there front row to cheer me on. If he was at the rink, it was very easy to spot him. Just find whatever net I was in and look about 3 rows up to my right or left and he was there. If you didn't hear him, just hear for a subtle tap on the glass and that was him with his cane. We always joked that if I ever made the big leagues, that I'd have to give him 2 sets of season tickets, 1 for each end of the net. Some of my most fond memories with Papa were road trips for hockey tournaments, or the little rituals or superstitions, like getting an apple fritter before every hockey game. So no wonder why I had a little chubby phase there. Just a couple apple fritters every game for a whole hockey season, those tend to add up. But outside of sports, my favorite times were our weekends in Ipperwash at the Carolinian campground. Nana and Papa had a trailer, and then eventually a decked out RV that they took down to Arizona. It was just hard-pressed to get me to miss out on hanging out with my buddies on weekends, but if you told me Papa asked for a weekend at the trailer, I'd just drop everything right there and start packing. When I say with Papa everything went, I really mean it, anything went. Whatever I got, whatever I wanted, I definitely got. Ketchup chips and chocolate milk for breakfast, that was done a lot. Trying to make the biggest campfire that Ipperwash Beats has ever seen, all I'd say is give her hell. Although, rubbing 2 sticks together, he did not have the patience for it, so a little bit of kerosene or lighter fluid definitely was used. Another example of this was around Griffin's age, I had a little bit of a BB gun obsession. And so one day he decided, oh, let's go look at it. He almost had hell rain down on him from the Weir women if I got my way that day. So we go to Forest City Surplus and we go looking for airsoft gun. I definitely might have been going in there thinking that it was going to be a purchase. But anyways, we went to the back and once I laid my eyes on that wall of guns, I began my sales pitch. I really thought I'd be walking out of there with a big rifle, but to my surprise, Papa laid down the law and told me no. We live in the city. That was a huge shock to me. Young Zach never thought that day would come. Am I running to meet Papa telling me no? I thought we were in this together. I thought he wanted one as much as I did. To the Hogs and the Chalmers, I know it's been a while, but I'm so sorry for all those silver babies you made in front of your logs. And to Nana, I'm very sorry about your hot tub and all the holes that I may not have put in. But it's maybe the easy way out, but I did not have a credit card. Being with him was always where I felt most comfortable and most at home. He really was my best friend and listening ear. I could go to him to vent about anything and anyone, and he'd just sit there and listen, and whenever the rant would be done, he'd just calmly give his advice, always completely judgment-free, no matter if I was in the right or how wrong I was. I feel comfortable speaking for my entire family and that he was the most dependable man you could ever meet. If you ever had a chance to have lunch, dinner, a round of golf, or just meet for a conversation, you'd be lying if you said you beat him there, unless it was at your place and you're already there. That man took the saying, early is on time and on time is late to heart. In the days following his passing, as a family we started to go through all the pictures and newspaper clippings from his career. One thing that really jumped out to me was the constant way of describing him, and that was about his consistency and how easygoing he was. In one article, they were talking about how a couple teammates were complaining about the quality of the accommodations in whatever city it was. I think it might have been Edmonton. And in a little bubble at the bottom, it had a quote from Papa when the reporter asked what he thought about the complaints. This is a direct quote, so here it is. Hell, there's nothing wrong with this place. It's great, but of course, I could sleep in a barn and it'd be fine by me, and that's why we call me Big Ben. No matter what year or coach, it was always the same comments about Papa. He made the right decisions, always being very effective off the line, and being a great teammate and friend to everyone. Being consistent in anything you do can take a lot of energy, but upon the hours of reading all these articles, it became clear that that just came naturally to Papa and was part of who he was. and part of every aspect of life, but probably not golf. That consistency is something that I'll carry with me going forward in life, in my marriage, as a son, as a friend, and in my work. I'd be remiss if I went on about Papa and didn't mention his sense of humor and quick wit. He carried that with him until the very end. One day when we were in the hospital, when he was still quite aware and with it, my wife Abby and I were getting down the rundown of the day's events from my mom, and the nurse came in to give him some pain meds. She was about to give it to him. He turns to us, gives us a thumbs up, and says, "Time to go hunting ducks with a rake." No one could get a room laughing with just one line like he could. As sad as this time has been, it's made me realize how lucky I was and we all were to have close relationships with Papa. I'm so glad him and Abby were able to build a strong and close relationship. Seeing how their relationship became closer over time only confirmed what I already knew, that I'd chosen an amazing woman. I haven't shared this with anyone because I never really thought anything of it, and it could just be because taking for granted times you have with people where that Papa really was just a real life superhero for all of us, and it always seemed like he'd pull through. But we told the family that we got engaged. It was a surprise engagement at Christmas of 2021, and Papa and I were just sitting there watching the Christmas NFL games, and just out of the blue, he just said, "I couldn't picture a more perfect person for you to marry than Abby. She's a special girl." So that gave me a lot of peace, knowing that he was proud of us, and especially the woman that Abby is. I truly believe I'm the person of the day because of his guidance and advice. He left a huge mark on this world in 71 years. That is evident by all the pictures around us, everyone here today, and all the smiles on his faces and everyone around him. I've been fortunate enough to attend some alumni events, and just the way that when he walks in the room, everyone would say, "Fuzzy here, Fuzz is here." When they'd see him, it was just always exciting to see that everyone shared the same enthusiasm seeing him as that we all do. He just had this aura about him that was so comforting and loving. But anyways, I love you, Papa. I'll carry on countless memories with me forever. Even though part of all of us went with you, we all gained an angel that will be with us as we try to move forward. Rest in peace.
Good afternoon. I have never spoken to this many people ever. So I'm Jacqueline, the youngest daughter, also known as Louie or Boo to some. When I was born, my dad was playing in Montreal in preseason. He paid a $1,000 fine to fly home and see us for the day. He was a family man. To say he was an involved father is an understatement. He was one of a kind. When I was growing up, I always felt so safe with him. He was a protector. His strength and support throughout our lives was undeniable. The memories we share together are endless, but I thought I would share a few with you today. I will forever cherish these memories. When I was only 4 or 5 years old, my dad and I would have Friday afternoon lunch and movie days. We would have the most delicious homemade egg salad or bologna sandwich before watching a movie on the couch together. Most times we fell asleep. He played with the three of us girls all the time. He would throw us across the pool or lake like no other, or swim under the water with us on his back like a fish. And his cannonballs were the best, even off the rocks in Muskoka. When I was a teenager, I went long-haul trucking with him. On a few occasions, we went to Florida, Las Vegas, and California. During those times, we enjoyed many Hungry Man breakfast without judgment, going to Busch Gardens, and the best Florida oranges I've ever tasted in my life off the side of the road. In Vegas, my dad wanted to play a few games of blackjack at the casino, only until security came over and kicked us out because I was too young. What an experience. My dad always knew how to make us feel better in tough times, whether it was over a simple phone call or having a coffee or even having a beer. We trusted him with all of our hearts. He lived life to its fullest. He was my real life superhero. Until we meet again, Dad. Dad, how did we get here so fast? These past 2 weeks after you passed away, we've had time to think about what it was like growing up with you as a father. I wanted to speak to a few of these things because I feel you deserve it. You were always larger than life to me, both in size and personality. Fun was a big part of our lives. I loved running around in the stands at your football games, playing at the beach, and being thrown around by you in the pool. I recall thinking, all the other children's fathers seem so small in comparison to you. You were never boastful or arrogant, so life with you as a super professional athlete was just life with my dad. With 3 children, life can be hectic, but you made time to get to know each one of your daughters, regardless of how busy your schedule was. We each had a special date night with you once every few months. You always loved to share the one memory of the date night we had together. Out of all the things I could have chosen to do at 6 years old, I wanted to go get a coffee and sit in the car in the parking lot and talk to you. I was just so happy to have you all to myself, and you said that's exactly what I did. And for any of you who know me, I talked for 2 hours straight. Sports was always a part of our lives, and I was so proud to have you attend any of my games, even if you did show up in pale cowboy boots that were blue. You always had a different fashion sense. Dad, you were strong and you made me feel safe. From sleeping on the floor of my bedroom when Mom let us watch scary movies, to holding him in your lap as a teenager while I soaked your shirt with my tears. Always providing sound advice with a twist of humor, you were very patient knowing that I would eventually find my way. 2 words I choose to describe you are kind and gentle, my supporter through life, my safe space, where listening always occurred without judgments. This passed on to your relationship with your granddaughter, Emily. You always helped me with early morning babysitting, where Emily never refused you a hug or asked for a back tickle. You two shared a very special bond that made me so happy. This loss will forever be with me, but I'm holding on to your love, and I feel it with me all the time.
I'm Rachel, his oldest daughter. As I try to find the words to properly honor my dad, there are so many life stories I could share that would keep me speaking for hours. But I quickly realized in a world that is constantly and rapidly changing, Dad was a rare gem of consistency. He was my constant, never changing or wavering supportive dad. He was unending love and acceptance of all my mistakes and successes. He was always a phone call away, and when I say that, it is true. He drove straight from Florida to hold his grandson Zach and to bring me McDonald's, no judgment ever, and sit with me while Mom, Jack, and Jen left the hospital, despite not sleeping for 2 days. We could debate on opposite sides of a topic, and it got heated, and I got mad, but he taught me to battle. When life knocked me down, I knew how to get back up and dust myself off and take one step at a time towards my goals without shame and with my head held high. I realize now I was fearless because he was by my side. He held me up. Dad never pretended to be anything other than what you saw. He was genuine and true, unabashedly larger than life. He loved beer and cigarettes, large to Maurier king size, as I recall, from the trips to the variety store, hoping to buy candy with the change. He started his life in a small town playing by a creek with his dog and best friend Kevin, not knowing he would decades later be playing football before tens of thousands of cheering fans. He was larger than life to so many people, including all of us too. As life progressed, it was quieter, and he once said, "I have always been the bull in a china shop." He was blessed with strength and an ability to work that defied logic. But behind that tough exterior was a heart that loved quietly and gently. People were always drawn to Dad, and if I'm honest, it wasn't his great accomplishments. Yes, they were amazing, but it was his gentle soul. He appeared to be like that bull, but in reality, he was the china. You could sit with Dad in silence and feel such peace. It was one of my favorite things as I got older. No more debates, just a movie or dinner and my apple pie. He loved and honored his parents and brother until they transitioned from this world. He was a faithful husband who said the best day of his life was marrying my mom, and you can tell in the photos. When he got ill, he wanted to be home with family, and despite all our efforts, we couldn't. But we said home is where we all are, and so we made sure he didn't spend a minute without us by his side. We never left his side like he never left ours. I thought we were bringing home to him, but in truth it was us that needed to be with him because he was the center of our home. He loved us and was loved more than any of us can put into words. I know he is with us always, on our shoulders, Zach, when you play hockey, in a cardinal flying by, or in our memories as we continue to honor him by living life fully. How do I say goodbye? I don't. I will look for you in the beauty that is God all around us. I love you, Dad.
First of all, I want to thank everybody today that has come to honor Glen's life with us. I have been Glen's wife for 49 years. We met when I was 17 and he was 19 at a house party. There was music playing and everyone was dancing and having a good time. I noticed this big guy, larger than life, and he came over to me and kept asking me to dance. I kept refusing, but he persisted, and eventually I gave in, and then that was the beginning of our relationship. We were both young and at the time of our lives. Glen had started playing for the London Lords, and I was working at 3M when he said he was invited to the Hamilton Tiger Cat camp. He literally walked on the field and made the taxi squad and ended up playing a few preseason games with them, and then was traded to Montreal, where he played for 13 years. We moved every 6 months back and forth from Dorchester. During those 13 years, we had 3 daughters and we were very busy. We made wonderful friendships and had a great life in Montreal. When Glen retired, we moved back to Dorchester and then eventually moved into London where we settled. Our life was busy raising our 3 active daughters who participated in sports, music, and school activities. I was busy working at the hospital and Glen was long-haul trucking. Glen and I had some wonderful holidays to Florida, Caribbean, Ireland, Arizona. We were also fortunate to have a place at the lake where we spent family time and enjoyed our friendships, and of course, Glen loved the boat. Today we are blessed with 5 grandchildren who have helped to keep us young and whom we spend a lot of time with. In the last 16 years, Glen had not been well, mobility-wise, and suffered chronic pain, but he still managed to golf a little. He thoroughly enjoyed the game, but especially the socializing after. Glen, you were not only my husband, my best friend, my lover, father of our 3 girls, my partner in crime, my main supporter, but most of all, part of who I am. I love you and I will see you again.
Hello, my name is Rob Stoddard. I was Glen's friend for the last 40 years, and I've been honored by the family to do a toast. So I want you to make sure that you have your banquet beers ready, or your wine, or other drinks. Or I'm going to say a few words first, if you will bear with me. First of all, I'd like to thank the family for an amazing display of memorabilia and outlining Glen's life and career. I think you guys have done an amazing, amazing job, so hats off to them. And again, I'd like to thank somebody above, maybe it was Glen, for the beautiful day we have here. Weather-wise, if you knew Glen, you knew that he always said to me, the warmer the better. He never, it was never too hot for Glen, and so this was a beautiful day, and I thank somebody for that, and that's a great day to have the celebration. I want to make a couple of comments. First, a few words. When I started thinking about what I might say before we do the toast, it seemed to me that when I started thinking of things, there were a lot of words that started with the word F, and not the F-bombs, because Glen really wasn't a profane man. He wasn't. Occasionally you would hear it, but he wasn't a profane man. And not even Fuzzy, his nickname. It was family first and foremost, and as you can hear from the comments, family was it. He always talked about his family, was involved with his family, and but second to that might have been his friends. And I considered myself one of his best friends over 40 years. We talked almost every day on the phone. He would call me when he was long distance trucking, and we just shot the breeze. Nothing necessarily world-shattering events. He just wanted to shoot the breeze, so to speak. And I look forward to those conversations, and I miss those conversations. Just a very quick story of how we became friends. Elizabeth and my wife Gail were working out with our respective children, and they became friends 40 years ago. And they said, they started talking, and our husbands would be friends. We could really get along. Elizabeth told Glen that we were going to have a barbecue at our house. He knew that I had gone to school. I was a swimmer, and I had gone to school at Brigham Young University in Utah. And Mormons, I'm not a Mormon, but Mormons don't drink. So Glen was not enthusiastic about coming to our house. And neither was I, because I thought, here's this big guy I've heard so much about, football all-star, and I was just kind of going, do we really have to? You'll like him. And so, anyway, they came to our house. First thing I said to Glen is, would you like a beer? That was the start of a beautiful friendship. So we hit it off right away, and we were friends forevermore. We then continued to have lots of trips together in the RV and houseboats and played golf, and we had marathon racquetball games. And one thing about Glen is that he would go at it, and so do I, hammer and tong, and we'd give no quarter. But as soon as we finished the game, we'd go have a beer, and it was no animosity going forward. And so anyway, I don't want to go on too long, but he was a friend, and we can see by the people here that were his friends, you couldn't pick a more loyal, honest. If you had something that you needed, you asked him, he'd be there, just like he was with his family. Football, of course, big part of his life, from his junior days to his pro days, and it was a very important part of his life. But when he retired, I always found it unusual that he didn't want to watch football on TV. He wanted to do things. He was an active person. When he got older and had his health issues, he did end up wanting to watch football on TV. But very important part of his life. But and then the final thing I would say is fun. He was definitely a glass half full kind of person. He just was that kind of a guy, and always I looked forward to it, because if I was down, he would bring me up in spirit. So That's just the kind of guy he was. So without that much further ado, I hope everyone's ready with their banquet beers. Glen, we'll miss you, but you will not be forgotten. To Glen.
We just want to again thank you all for coming. If you haven't had something to eat or food left, please help yourself. If you would like a drink, help yourself. It's just lovely. Please share your memories. We have some cards. If there's anything you want to write down, we would love to hear them. That gives us life and sustainability in this difficult time. Thank you so much for coming.